Greetings from South Korea. I am Arirang News AI anchor. Here is the news making headlines today. Over in Arirang, President Lee Jae-myung began the second and last day at the G7 summit by joining a working session titled Reviving a Balanced, Shared and Sustainable Economic Growth for All. Wednesday's meeting brought together leaders of the G7, 5 invited partner countries, including Korea, as well as the heads of the International Monetary Fund and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Discussions focused on ways to address global economic imbalances and promote more sustainable growth through closer international cooperation. President Lee is set to return to Korea on Thursday, concluding his 10-day trip to Europe. The Defense Ministry has rolled out plans to ease civilian restricted buffer zone boundaries along the border with North Korea. The Civilian Control Line, or CCL, is a buffer zone controlling civilian access for military operations within 10 kilometers south of the military demarcation line. It will be reduced to an average of 6 kilometers, moving upward by an average of 2 kilometers. The ministry also aims to lift restrictions on approximately 450 square kilometers of the restricted protection zone, that is around 150 times the size of Yeouido, to allow private property development. The ministry will start the review process in the second half of this year. The Bank of Korea projects consumer inflation to hover around the 3% range in the second half of the year and remain above its 2% target into next year, driven by lingering oil shocks and soaring IT corporate bonuses. The central bank noted that even if global oil prices cool down, the indirect effects of high energy costs typically take about 6 months to feed into non-energy goods and can persist for up to a year. Meanwhile, the central bank governor Shin Hyun-sung dismissed speculation of a potential big step interest rate hike, drawing a clear line by stating it was a measure only discussed when market conditions were exceptionally tough. A draft agreement reported by Bloomberg on Wednesday suggests the United States and Iran are moving closer to permanently ending their recent conflict. According to the report, the two nations could sign a memorandum of understanding this Friday in Switzerland. The proposed deal outlines major economic incentives for Tehran. Washington would lift its naval blockade, allow immediate crude oil exports, and help secure $300 billion in financial support. In exchange, Iran must explicitly commit to never producing nuclear weapons and completely freeze its nuclear program during a 60-day negotiation window. While this draft sets a clear timeline, reaching a final, binding agreement still faces major diplomatic hurdles. The United States and Iran are set to formally sign their Armistice Memorandum of Understanding in Bürgenstock, Switzerland, on Friday, following the electronic signing of an interim agreement. According to Swiss authorities, the venue was moved from Geneva to the secluded Alpine resort to provide tighter security. Regarding the release of the agreement, President Donald Trump says it will be announced within days, though U.S. officials say the timing requires diplomatic protocols and sensitivities. Meanwhile, conflict persisted in Lebanon, where Israel struck a drone on Tuesday as clashes with the Iran-backed Hezbollah militia continued. Trump publicly rebuked Israel, urging the Israeli leader to exercise restraint to avoid jeopardizing peace efforts. That is all from me today. Thank you for watching.